guys, and welcome to my review of One Piece chapter 954, Like a Dragon Given Wings. I was really excited reading this chapter because I thought we went through a lot of things that I thought was going to take a long time pretty quickly. Like, we skipped through like a couple of days, which was, I was really excited, like reading like 4 days into the read, like so on and so forth. That was really great. But let's just start from the beginning and talk a little bit about some of the things that we found out in this chapter. So we begin kind of where we left off with Hiyori not giving Enma to Sora, but at least like saying that she will give it to him in return for Shusui, because obviously we had that whole thing. And I feel like at this point we the characters have all said Shusui is a very special national treasure, Wano to Zoro, so many times I'm getting tired of hearing it. Like, I feel like we get it at this point. It's an important sword. We get it. Just yes. But Hiyori also explains that it's not the only sword that exists that's used to belong so far. There were two of them. The other one called Ameno Habakiri, which was then given to Momo, which I don't think we've seen unless Kinemon is holding on to it. I don't know. I don't think we've seen it, but I might be wrong about this because I should have researched. But yeah, it's interesting that there are two, because that would seem to suggest that we're gonna see that other sword in action somehow. I don't think Sora will be giving both of them, because then one of his other swords would have to break or something. But maybe we'll see. I really doubt we're gonna see Momo use it, but don't know. But I'm sure it's gonna come into play somehow, and I think it's somewhat exciting. I'm waiting for something big with these swords, other than the fact that obviously Enma supposedly has wounded Kaido, so I'm interested in seeing like how Sora will react to them, because he usually has a pretty deep bond with his swords, and he can tell like how good they are, how bloodthirsty they are, if they're cursed or whatever. So I'm really interested in seeing like when he holds the sword, or when he's like presented the sword, what his feelings are going to be about that, because I think that's probably going to be a thing. But that's probably how it's going to be. He's going to give Shusui back, and then he's going to get Enma instead. But I like that he said, well, at the very least, let me go see Ryuma's grave, because he did fight him, and he wants to pay his respects, because he is that kind of person. Reminds me a lot of Thriller Bark. There were a lot of things in this arc, or in this chapter, that remind me of Thriller Bark, which makes me really happy, as Thriller Bark is my favorite arc. So, yeah, that was just one of the things that made this chapter really good for me. We go to Law and Hawkins, and this is then the next day, as we find out. And they're talking about what went down when Kaido kind of imposed on the Kid, Hawkins, Appu alliance, which of course Appu was already like betraying them because he was already working for Kaido. And I feel like a lot of the things we got from this we already kind of knew. I don't know if it's just in my personal headcanon this is how it went down anyway, or if it's because we'd gotten this information before. I don't know. Regardless, at the very least, it's confirmed that this is exactly how it happened, that Appu had betrayed them, Hawkins then surrendered, and Kid kept fighting. Pretty much as they would. That's very in character for all of them. But I like the explanation that Kaido is the kind of person who admires these strong people and wants to break them to then make them his soldiers, and that Orochi is then in return making Kid's crew work for him by holding Kid as a hostage. I think that's a really good like little details added, because that probably means we're gonna see the entirety of Kid's crew now that he's free or whatever. But we're also gonna have the whole thing with Killer and possibly getting a cure for the smile thingy. Just because I feel like it's such a huge plot point. We have to get it resolved, and it would be it would make a lot of sense that Kid would be one of those people who would be in the forefront of trying to find that cure, because obviously Killer is affected and he is very close to him. Not that we know the full story there, but I'm sure we're gonna get it. But yeah, my favorite part of this entire conversation is that Hawkins is questioning Law's alliance with Luffy, because so far it's been going pretty well, as Hawkins also points out, but we have had seeded from the beginning that pirate alliances usually end up in betrayal and death and all those nasty little things that Luffy obviously won't acknowledge, because friends are friends and they won't betray each other, you know? And I am 99% certain that Law will not betray Luffy, and I'm 90% certain that he's gonna make it look like he's betrayed him. Because obviously this entire thing is crazy and whatever. But I'm fairly certain that Law won't betray them at this point. I just feel like it's not in his character. Again, I could be wrong. There's that 1% of me that doubts him. But I really highly doubt that he is gonna betray them. But I feel like it's definitely Oda's gonna make it look like he has. Because he is a logical person, and it would make sense for him, like, if he sees the situation is completely hopeless, he might just take his crew and leave, but I really doubt that would happen. But the big mystery is then, who is helping him? Who's the mysterious figure? Who's letting him out? Who Law is like, I mean, if letting me go is what you want, I'm gonna participate in whatever you want. I was, like, looking at the pen, I'm like, who could that possibly be? It has to be someone we know, otherwise, why like censor them out? Why would we not just see who they are? Because then we'd be like, oh, that's a new character. It's definitely someone we know, but I don't know who. I don't know if it's someone, because it could be someone who's just coming into Wano, who is like, oh my god, this character is here now, or it could be someone who's been here all along, who is working for someone else. And I'm also wondering with both Apu and Hawkins, mostly with Apu though, because we see him by the end of the chapter, if we're gonna get another Capone situation where it's like, I was only working for you so that I could take it down from the inside. It'd be more interesting if we didn't get that, just because we've already had that story with Capone. But anything could happen there. I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting to see how this will go down. But I feel like Apu is not gonna betray Kaido. At least I don't think it's gonna be a plan. Ooh. My notes. I feel like he'd be more likely to be the kind of person who would judge a situation and then just choose the stronger side. So when inevitably we have the war to fight the rebellion going on, and if Apu senses, oh no, we might have this Wano uprising actually having the edge and winning, he might shift. But then again, on the other hand, we have 2 emperors on this other side, so that might be, difficult. But we'll get into that in the chapter. We then jump around to the different teams, and it seems to be that right now we have Usopp and Frankie in one place, repairing the ships, which is obviously very important because they need ships to go from Tokage to Onigashima, obviously because Onigashima is a little remote island. We have Luffy and Usopp. Luffy and Chopper. I'm not entirely sure what Chopper. I don't think we saw Chopper in this chapter. I was looking for him, but I believe he should still be with Luffy because that's where he was last. And Luffy's just training, basically, which is fair. He needs new tricks to go up against Kaido, so we'll see what he can do in the last 4-ish days he has left. And then we have the rest of the group. I'm really happy that we didn't have to go through the whole, like, oh, we have to get Zoro here, we have to get everyone here, because they were kind of scattered. But we have Nami, Robin, Sanji, Brook, and Zoro with the main group. The main group is what I'm gonna call whoever's Kinemon is with, because he seems to be, like, the center of everything. But it is also where we have the most people. At the top of my head, I can't remember exactly everyone, but we have at least 7 out of 8 of the people who were the vestiges of Oden and Promise to Protect Momo and all those stuff. We have Inuarashi, we have other people who are important. We have basically all the important side characters here who I haven't mentioned before and who aren't elsewhere, I don't know. But it's great to have everyone in this place, because I feel like, I said that last time, like, my biggest complaint about this arc is that everyone is scattered again, and I just want everyone to be in the same place. I miss that a lot. And even though this group consists mostly of side characters, we still have the majority of the Straw Hats here. The majority. 5 out of 9. But I'm hoping that we get people to say us. We still have a couple of days until everything, and we are all meeting in Tokage Port, so that would be great. I really love the little explanation we had of how they chose to subtly change the location and how they're showing that. I thought that was really clever. And it shows they're like adjusting to the situation as it unfolds. It's really nice to see that everything is going really well because of the end of the chapter. Obviously, it's like, oh no, it's getting worse. I talked about Apu. My little note about that when we had the explanation of the alternative route into Wano, it reminded me a lot of when we had the two routes to Fishman, or not to Fishman Island, to the New World explained, because you had the safe way where you can like go over the red line, which is kind of the same thing, and then you had the usual pirate method of going below to Fishman Island that way. It reminded me a lot of that. I don't know why that was so familiar, but it's just like that there's two routes and there's the traditional, and here you have to get permission and all these things. So yeah, that was just very reminiscent of that. Then we also briefly see the numbers arriving to Onigashima. The numbers who, again, seem very familiar. They remind me of those monsters that never got an explanation from Thriller Bark. You know, by the end of Thriller Bark, we saw those shadowy figures, big shadowy figures. That reminded me a lot of them. They could be the same. What do I know? But yeah, they seem scary. That's really all I have of that. They seem scary, and they remind me of the monsters from Thriller Bark that we never saw. But yeah, we're just setting up more and more enemies. And then we have the big one, which is the alliance between Big Mom and Kaido. Now, there are a lot of things to be said about this alliance, because first of all, there's no way this is gonna last. I mean, as scary as this is, how is this ever gonna last past a week? I'm really like, because I will give them this. They are on the same page that this will not last forever. This will last until they have basically gained world domination, and then they will fight each other. The deal is they will fight each other by the end, but until then, until they've like done what they want, they're just gonna work together. So they have that going for them. But I just don't see how they're gonna work together, like, because they are both very, you know, assertive rulers, and they seem to be in a very good mood right now, probably because they're drunk. I can't see this alliance holding up until the end of the arc. Something has to happen, and it has to be the alliance breaking that really turns the tide of the battle, because can our group really take on Big Mom and Kaido at the same time? I feel like that's a bit of an overkill. Because yeah, it seems like too much, but at the very least we get to see Big Mom fight for real. That was the big complaint a lot of people had about Whole Cake Island, is that we never got to see like our main characters go up against Big Mom for real, because it was all about escaping for them. It was like, get Sanji, leave. So the fact that she's here is great. Obviously, as I've said before, I wanted her to be a third party that came in and ruined everything, but like whatever. I guess it could still end up like that if the alliance completely breaks, because they both have a red poneglyph each, and they're not gonna share the title of Pirate King either. So obviously what they can do as per their alliance is just gather the last two, whatever else they want to do, and then they can fight over who gets all four. But I just don't see this lasting for very long, because it seems, I mean, first of all, Big Mom already has like heckin' mood swings. I'm really interested in seeing if she's gonna come up with one of her cravings again, and how they're gonna handle that if that happens. Kaido is, when he's drunk, he also changes personality, but I mean, at least he can control that. He can just stop drinking, which I highly doubt is gonna happen. I just don't feel like this is gonna last. It's scary, but it's also like, and there's also the possibility that one or both of them are just like playing the game, because they might be like, oh, this might be my best opportunity to just like safely take this rogue poneglyph. But I don't know, they could just be like going with the flow. They both seem like highly unpredictable people. I don't know what's going on in their minds. I don't know. For some reason, I am more likely to suspect Big Mom of trying to fool Kaido than I am the other way around, just because I feel like Kaido is more arrogant in his powers. I feel like he's the kind of person who's like, well, if this person is gonna betray me, I can easily take them out. I think Big Mom is a little smarter than that. But again, what do I know? I forgot to mention, I wanted to talk about this. The cover page, we have Capone, obviously again, this is who we're following, and on their way to Thriller Bark, they are obviously trying to cross the red line, and we have the little mention of the reverie, which is nice, because that's still a thing that's happening that we haven't seen since the reverie started. So I'm really wondering, like, if we're just gonna cut back to it at some point, if it's gonna be, like, if we're gonna have anything in Wano happen that's gonna affect the reverie, or the other way around. Because I do believe I read that the two arcs, like the Reverie arc and the Wano arc, are gonna happen at the same time. And obviously we kind of started out with the Reverie and then we went into Wano, and it's, I don't know. I don't know. Said I don't know a lot, but it's more like there's so many uncertainties going forward because it's going so well for our main characters. And then by the end we bring in, like, Kaido, Big Mom Alliance, we have the numbers, we have yada 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 yada. Apu, we have whatever Law is doing. So it's just uncertainty all around, and I'm sure we're gonna get half a chapter where the plan is gonna, like, go according to plan, you know? And then as soon as, like, one little thing happens, it's all gonna spiral out of control, and Luffy's gonna come in and save the day because he doesn't know how to follow a plan anyway. But I want to see him make an effort to follow the plan, because he does that a lot. He's tried many times. As much as people joke that he can't follow a plan, he tries, like, half the time. He did really well in Impel Down, following the plan that was set there, like, don't get noticed, just casually slither through, try to find Ace. He did that really well, and then Bucky fucked him up. He also tried really well in Whole Cake Island, and they kind of, like, did what they planned to do, just, you know, it went a little bit out of control, but that's not entirely their fault. I mean, they still got what they wanted to do. So, got what they wanted to do, I don't think that's a sentence. Whatever. But yeah, I think Luffy is very willing to follow this plan, especially because he knows what this means to a lot of the people of Wano. He has said that he basically fully supports this rebellion because he disagrees with how people are treated, and this isn't his fight. I mean, it is his fight. He said from the beginning he wants to fight all the 4 emperors, but in the whole picture, this is not his fight. This is the fight of the country, and he's probably more willing to take a little bit of a backseat just to follow this plan, because he knows eventually he's going to be the one to beat up Kaido anyway, because he is the strongest person there, and that's just how this is. So yeah, I'm really interested in seeing how far this plan will work, and where and when it goes wrong, because that's gonna be the issue. Because it could also be, we could have one of those things where it's like half the plan goes wrong, but then the other half the plan kind of like goes somewhat smoothly, and that also changes the tide, because it's like, oh no, the main characters, we're all fucked, and then suddenly it's like, haha, we did this thing that we were meant to do. Yeah, I feel like I'm really speculating this. Oh, I talked for a long time. But this was a good chapter. I really feel like we skipped a lot of the things that I thought we were going to spend chapters on. Because sometimes Oda's like, let's just randomly do a lot of this. So I'm glad we skipped like 3 days. Just quickly seeing what everyone is doing. And it's, you know, it's good. We got to see every single Straw Hat member, except for Chopper. I really miss Usopp, by the way. I miss Usopp. I feel like every chapter I'm like, oh, I miss this person. Oda, please, just get them all together in one place and I will be so happy, and we can have like a group hug or something. It'd be great. Anyway, I think next week we're on break, and then we're gonna have an early Friday release for some reason. So that's gonna be interesting. So yeah, it'll be 2 weeks. Yeah, I think that's it. There's a break next week, which a little sad because we're getting into some really good stuff now. But yeah, you can like this video if you like anything that I had to say. Oh god, it was so long. You can leave a comment below what you thought of the chapter. What do you think of the Alliance, of Law, of Apu, of the numbers, of whatever. There's so many things happening. And you can subscribe if you want to see more. Don't know why I did this. And until next time, bye.